There they go into the back. The blue light on. We have a race, and Satnova's beaten Pure Steel out by a length and a half.
Welcome to Talking Trots, hosted by Mortz and Michael Radley on Tab Radio, Racing and Sport.
The sensational Sydney sider Seals to Sam comes off the back straight. He's a bucket load of alliteration, this fellow.
Scott Bomber Hill will join the boys to look at the Friday night meeting at Gloucester Park, and Hayden King will find the winners for the weekend's racing.
Here comes Quinny. I'm the mighty Queen is 4 deep and letting go.
Sit back and enjoy Talking Trots with Mortz and Michael Radley.
I'm the mighty Queen is just in front. Dasher VC can do no more, and the West Australian champion has done it again.
Hello and welcome to Talking Trots for another week here on Tab Radio. Welcome everyone into the program. Really good card of racing upcoming at Gloucester Park tomorrow night. Hope you've had a winning week on the punt. If not, we can turn it around. And I'm joined again this week by Glen Moore. How are you, Glen?
Good morning, Hayden. Yes, look, what you call a smallish card, only 8 races, but there's some interest there with some of the races are very good. Obviously, the major race, a bit disappointing the numbers, of course. This time of year, we've got that issue with the fast class. A lot of these horses, Hayden, have gone out for a spell. And, of course, we're waiting to get them back for to leading into the big country cups and into the Nullarbor and into the Fremantle Cup in April. They'll be coming back probably the next few weeks. So it is what it is, and we'll still be able to find a winner, hopefully.
Indeed. I say good in the sense that we've got a couple of really competitive races, and that's been made even more so by the fact that we've had a couple of scratchings in the last couple of hours. We'll get to those in a moment. Some top quality horses to do battle. Our guest tonight will be Shannon Suvaljko, and he has got a very promising horse engaged in the opener tomorrow who was able to score last Saturday, and that was Holy Hecker.
Australia's out wider on the track. I'm drinking doubles trying to come from the back, but Holy Hecker is in a race of its own. It's about 35 metres in front. Farrier's Trouble coming through. Karaoke Star might get up and run second. Battling away is Australia. But Holy Hecker won under a vice-like grip. Farrier's Trouble fought on well at the big price and ran second.
Yes, Holy Hecker, a horse that supposedly, on the evidence of what we've seen so far, will have a good future in the West. His reinsman, Shannon Suvaljko, joins us. How are you, Shannon?
Yeah, g'day Hayden, g'day Glen, how you going?
Good evening, Shannon. Very impressive, Holy Hecker. Both starts in its former New Zealand indicated that it's above average, but certainly we're suitably impressed, particularly the ease of its last win and even the first up run, the way it got to the line, really savaged the line late.
Yeah, he's a really nice horse. Mick, when he took him to Wanneroo Trials a couple of weeks ago, he went around with our start, the one that won the other day. How Shelley Beach, and he sat behind him, and he said when Michael Snardy pulled him out, he really just let down like a nice horse. And at his first start, he had no luck, but he sealed to the line, and I jumped off him. I said, I think you've got a good one here. And then, he didn't beat much the other day, but he had length left in the tank. So he's going to be a nice horse going forward.
Shannon, the interesting part there is he's lobbed a bit late for the Derby, hasn't he? He looks like the horse that obviously had that potential to be in that field. Did he arrive a bit late, or did he sort of have a spell, when he got here and couldn't quite make up the time?
I think he had some issues with bone chips early.
Okay. Yep.
And I think he had a good spell. So, he's probably helped him a little bit. So, he's a really nice horse going forward.
Yeah, one for next year anyway for the Nugget, 2024, that's for sure. He's enormous potential. I mean, he didn't beat a lot the other day, but you've got to say that he was tremendously impressive, wasn't he, the way he charged the line?
Yeah, and he'll only get better. Like his first up run, he didn't get out till late, but he really flashed, and they went good time, and his heart rate was up a little bit, and then the other day, heart rate was coming down better still. So, and I know he only just jogged in the other day and then he went slow, but, he's a really class animal.
When he was a 2-year-old, I noticed him in New Zealand. He showed promise, but I did notice he had guiders on over there for his first couple of runs. Then they spelled him and brought him back, and I don't think the guiders were on. So they might have maybe had trouble getting and going early, and they took the guiders off. Did you know anything about that, or did you notice that on the earlier replays?
Yeah, I'd noticed it, but when you drive him, there's a big gap between his legs. He's probably just, the guiders were probably in for driving through. A lot of babies drive through and from their back end. So, that probably would have helped his front end. But, he doesn't need guiders. He's a pretty clean going horse.
Yeah, he strikes you that way.
In terms of tomorrow night, Shannon, he has shown gate speed. He showed some at his second start there in New Zealand, and you come up with a good barrier draw down low. Do you think you could force the issue and run to the front?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's got huge gate speed. I think he just feels like he wants to come off the arm, and he's a fast horse anyway. Like, he's a really quick A to B horse, so I think he'd probably zap him. And 2,500 won't worry him. You know, he's racing the way he's racing. He'll be a nice horse going forward.
Shannon, race 3, Flying Rumour. Going tremendously well, obviously, brilliant gate speed. A little bit different here. A bit of gate speed underneath you drove Mr. Mont Blanc when you burst out the gate and led with Mr. Mont Blanc. And he would have impressed you that night. And Paul Edward, of course, has got gate speed. Not a noted leader as such, but you would think the opportunity here would be for them, Dylan, to try and lead, particularly the 1,700, of course.
Yeah, short race. Everyone will be coming off the arm, I'm sure. Flying Rumour, he doesn't have to lead. He's just as good with a sit. So, I don't know what Mick wants to do, but he's came back from a spell really well this time, and he's a lot more relaxed and he's savaging the line. So, he's a nice horse too.
BJ's boy in race number 4, desperately unlucky last start. You hop back in the cart tomorrow night, drawn 3. It looks a race well within his grasp. How do you size it up early?
Yeah, it's a winnable race. He's got good gate speed too. Early on in his prep, I just don't think he was fit enough to come off the arm and work. But now they changed all their horses' works around, and they're a lot, tougher and faster now. So the way they're working him, he worked off the arm last week, and Emily said he would have just won if he got out. So, it's actually a huge drop in grade for him, I think. So, I think he gets his chance.
With probably the exception of Sugar Apple, but perhaps, Shannon, you would have seen Sugar Apple trial. Pin Jarrett, no luck, of course. Got sort of pie bailed up on the rail and sort of checked, and then got home a little bit late. But the trial, albeit worked out in his favour, the way the trial was probably run, was pretty impressive, I thought. Sugar Apple, did you watch that trial?
Yeah, I was only on a maiden in front. He went past me. Most of them were all maidens, except for him. I think he was the addition. And then, he won. He went good, but he probably only ran 1 quarter. And them horses like that, fast horses against like maidens, it probably made it look a little bit better than it was.
True.
So it's a step up in grade for him too. But he's probably a nice horse going forward.
Yeah, 29.2, 27.7. He seemed to do it pretty comfortably. Obviously, he's probably the danger to you anyway, but he's drawn the 9, so that always levels it up a bit, doesn't it?
Do you think he'll be able to wrest the lead away from horses like Matty, Better Move Along?
Oh, Matty won't have a problem. He's got no gate speed. Better Move Along gets out okay, but it's probably best interest would be taking a sit, and then if Sugar Apple comes to me, he's probably got the last run. So it's going to be interesting, but BJ's boy gets off the arm pretty quick too.
Got the visitors draw with Blitz and By. Magnificent Storm, obviously inside you anyway. Drawn inside you anyway. It looks like a bit of a procession there, and only a mile, so it's a tough ask, isn't it, for Blitz and By, who's racing extremely well.
Yeah, he's racing well, but it's hard when Magnificent Storm draws too. So we'll probably just be driving like we did last week.
Single file job by the looks, eh?
Yeah, looks like.
Race after. Now, this race has taken a turn today. Lusaka's come out, and that's a big help for you on Arden's Horizon. You think you can get the front here?
Yeah, I jumped out one of Callan's other horses, Skippy Rascal, on Sunday, and he drove Arden in the stand, and he got out really quick with me, and Skippy's jumped really quick. He still had to do one more to get back in the draw, but he actually reckons he jumps quicker from high on the track. So he won their Collie Cup. He's when he gets it right, he's pretty quick and he's a pretty nice horse. And to see probably a horse like Yankee Lincoln crossing him early, and probably he would want to sit behind us with Minstrel off a long handicap. So, yeah, I think he's a great chance, Arden.
Yeah, and Arden's part owned by me, actually. Be nice to see you win, if you can manage it. 158.9 when he beat Magnificent Storm, which was, I know, was a turn up for the books, and it was a big handicap that night. But it's a pretty good scalp to have, isn't it?
Yeah, well, Callan's trying to get him in the Nugget next week. He was telling me how good he's working on the track, and then he didn't get much luck last week in that consolation. He was held up behind him. I noticed that he went the line full of running, and Callan's
he went good.
Callan's really happy with him. So, it's a great drive for me. And, if I get to the front and try and keep Minstrel out of it, I think he's going to be the one to beat.
That'll be the key. And the last race, Hoppy's Way Scratch, do you know anything there?
Yeah, I rang Mick and just asked him what happened. And they put new posts in, and then there was one wooden post that was in the ground that the horse was chewing in the paddy. So they just scratched him.
The arsenic scare.
Yeah, just for precaution. So he rang up and got permission to scratch.
So he's right for next week in that case.
Yeah, he's fine to go. And
Yep. That's sweet. That's good.
A big relief.
Good news. Yep. And he was going around. I mean, last week you did everything bar a win on the line, didn't you? You would have been watching for Shane Young, out of the corner of your eye, wonderful to fly, and you would have. I know you spotted it and you're off at the right time, but just grabbed you on the line. Great for Shane, but disappointing for you, obviously, and the connection.
I was just hoping he got held in the pocket a bit longer, because he was probably the fastest horse in the race, and he had a soft run where we had to take a bit of pressure early, and then we held him off down the back, and Hoppy's going really good, but it's just finding it a bit harder with the pressure early, and so he'll be spot on for the 25 next week, and he gets his chance from a good draw.
Just an observation, you had My Ultimate Ronnie alongside you turning for home. It looked for a fleeting moment that he was travelling pretty well. Did you share that thought when he loomed up alongside you, or did you think he was a short-term little crack at you and then gone? What went through your mind at that point?
Yeah, I thought he was on the loose rein down the back, so I thought I had him down the back. And then, he had a fleet. I think he pulled the earplugs and he had a fleeting moment. He loomed up, but I knew I still had a good kick in the straight.
Right.
And, when I got away from him, he kind of just hit the line and just missed it from Ronnie. But I don't know if they found any problems or not, but, he's
it's not
going
like,
to be hard to beat.
Yeah, it's not like you're running like 31, 30.5, then the 28. I know that you ran a 35.8 lead time, which was a killer for you and for him at the end, I suppose, and he's outside you, so that does hurt. But they sort of 61.5 middle half. He was, no doubt, it went up way under its ability. My Ultimate Ronnie is far better than that.
Yeah, it's difficult because the races over there are a lot of mile racings, and most of the good horses get to the front and just keep rolling like he does. And it's just interesting on our track, 800 metre track, where you have to keep them out, and if they can do it, they prove themselves are good horses. But it's really hard to sit in the breeze.
Yeah, no doubt.
It's going to be interesting, the barrier draws for next week for sure.
100%. We've got a fantastic race in our hands. And you're a live player. You've got the gate speed anyway. If you drew somewhere close to reasonable barrier, you're always a chance of leading, aren't you? With Hoppy's Way, he's led from outside barriers and very comfortable from the inside barriers. So it'll be interesting. Mike Reid buttering him up this week. Did it surprise you that he's buttering him up?
No, he asked me, and he said he was going to put him in the Village Kids Sprint, and I actually talked him out of that. I said, you're going from 21 back to 17 to 25.
Yep.
I thought either gives him a good hit out, and then he found that race, the 2100 metre condition race, which was probably a good race for him, but he's not going to... He still will have a good run on... He said he still had a good run Wednesday, he'll have a good run on Saturday, so he hasn't lost any work. It's just the precaution.
Yeah, for sure, yep.
You've got drives Saturday, Monday, Tuesday. Looks like you got chances there without any standouts. Is there anything you liked at first glance?
I really can't remember.
Yeah, it looked like you had
We know your problem.
a lot of each way chances, but nothing really stood out off the page.
No, nothing much. I would have had a look, but I'm here at Lucas' graduation, so
Yeah, we better let you go.
no worries.
Really
All right,
appreciate
good
it, mate. Thank you very much
Thanks,
indeed.
Shannon.
Thank you.
That's Shannon Suvaljko there, giving us his time to preview his drives tomorrow night. He was... that's what I was conscious of when you were talking about Hoppy's Way. I thought, it must be starting at 5 o'clock or something. He's got to go and see his son graduate. But thanks very much to Shannon for coming along. All right, this first segment, Glen, brought to us by Retrovision. Save an extra 5% every day out there at Retrovision.
And he's on his way back from Sydney in a plane. I think he might have just touched down. He's been over there for a conference, I think, with Retrovision, so that's why he's not here tonight. And Rad's had another appointment as well, so we've filled in again for this week. I don't think we've got Bomber tonight either, have we?
No Bomber.
No? Okay, this is disappointing.
We'll have a look at them.
Yep.
And we'll do that very soon. Before we go and do that, though, let's go back last week. You touched on this race there with Shannon a bit, the 4-year-old Classic, Group 2, Hoppy's Way, fleetingly, as you discussed, looked the winner, but wonderful to fly. The ace in the pack got out at the critical point and it finished over the top.
Game of inches.
Get to Hoppy's Way as they corner. Hoppy's Way responding, leads by a neck though to My Ultimate Ronnie. Hoppy's Way got away now from My Ultimate Ronnie, is looking strong. Wonderful to Fly is into the clear and bursting home down the outside. Hoppy's Way in front. Wonderful to Fly is lunging. Hoppy's Way, Wonderful to Fly grabs Hoppy's Way right on the line, and Wonderful to Fly from Hoppy's Way and Al Capone, and they'll follow by.
You are listening to Talking Trots with Mortz and Michael Radley.
Raced away around the turn, bolted clear from Armour Einstein, blitz them by, and then came Minstrel. Magnificent Storm is well clear, leads by about 12 metres to Armour Einstein, blitz them by, and Minstrel, they held their spots all the way, and Magnificent Storm has bolted home in the pack Cranley and won by 15 metres to Armour Einstein, about 6 metres to blitz.
Light work for Magnificent Storm last Friday in the Pat Cranley Memorial. He spread-eagled his rivals over the concluding stages, opening up in a 26-7 final quarter to score by double-digit margins, Glen.
Yeah, making hay while the sun shines. Magnificent Storm, that's for sure. And a beautiful opportunity again tomorrow night, $50,000 race.
And really does look at his mercy. He'll be $1, $2?
Yeah, around that. It's probably the timing of this race long term would probably need to be looked at now, given the numbers that wane after the Pacing Cup. So I'm sure the racing boys will be having a look at all this stuff now, because you get learnings from when you change dates. You get occurrences happening like this. Probably this race, 1,730, 50,000 feet should be great leading up into the big races in April. You know, you got Pinjarra Cup, Bunbury Cup, those type of races. You can whack this race somewhere in prior to there to attract some big fields in there and real competition. So, but right at the moment, Magnificent Storm's flying and they're taking advantage of the situation, that's for sure.
Speaking of big fields, disappointing to see 65 now reduced to even less nominations for tomorrow night and only 8 races, Glen.
Yeah, only 8 races. It's obviously the effect of the changing of the races and the season, the calendar, etc. But a couple of these races, like for example, I wouldn't mind seeing say the condition stand, for example, having that condition stand with Minstrel off 30 lured Minstrel away from the free for all, and because it's conditioned, they can only give Minstrel 30. It's a great opportunity for the Bonds to pick up on that race and go that way. So they've done the smart thing. But had they not put that condition race on the same night, probably maybe could look at programming a different race on. So we would have had extra horses in for that $50,000 race. You're spending the $50,000, you want the best field you can get. So maybe a bit of tinkering with that, I think. It's not a criticism, it's just the way it's turned out. And I did notice they had a 2-year-old fillies race, which I think had 3 nominations, and that was an open race. So probably is an opportunity, particularly late in the season, for the maiden 2-year-old fillies to get a chance and have a maiden 2-year-old fillies city race so they can win one of those fillies races or whatever's around. I mean, the boys in the race department know the horse population, so they'd have to look at all that stuff. But if you'd had a maiden 2-year-old fillies race, I'm sure they would have got a full field or close to it, and we could have probably got an extra race. This is the sort of thing we need to play around with a little bit. I'm sure they're tinkering with all this stuff, but just a suggestion as to how they probably could have created another race. And for maiden 2-year-olds, they only get one more chance to, prior to the end of the year, being 2-year-old fillies before they turn 3. So it might have been an opportunity, particularly for the Westbreds, to have that opportunity.
Corner of Guildford and Garrett Road, Bayswater Mazda. Get into Bayswater Mazda if you do require an automobile, and they'll set you up. No bomber tonight, as you mentioned, off the top, Glen. So we'll have a look at these fields. We'll do the first 4 in this segment, then we'll have a look at the last 4 tomorrow. All new Photon diesel trucks, 3-year-old pace is the first race on the program. They'll go 25.36 at 5.40. Number 1 Instigator for Chris Lewis, Jocelyn Young. 2 Holy Hecker, we talked with Shannon just before. 3 Sweet Lucifer steps up here. 4 Crowd Control's been excellent his last 2. 5 Frisky Sticks in winning form has turned the corner. 6 El Waddell, 7 Chivalry, 2 there for Lindsay Harper, and 8 Soho Firestone drawn deepest.
Yeah, look, predicted price $1.75. That won't be happening. Holy Hecker is going to probably open really short, I would have thought. Hayden, probably around the dollar, as short as $1.20, I would have thought here. I don't know what your thoughts on that. We haven't got prices out yet, but he's not going to be going up $1.75. If he does, get your running shoes on. That's a pretty good price, but I'd say he's going to open up short. I guess we're still going to learn about his gate speed and whether something's going to have a crack out of the gate. They might test him because of the unknown there, but he strikes me as a horse that would have sufficient gate speed to hold, say, for example, Crowd Control, which flew out last start in lesser company, but Crowd Control did show gate speed there. Frisky Sticks got a bit of gate speed too, but yeah, I don't see him getting crossed. But that's probably the only concern. Would you say that, the unknown?
No, and I wouldn't say Crowd Control flew out last start anyway.
Comparatively, it looked like that, but it was lesser opposition, wasn't it?
Well, the inside horse was holding him if he wanted.
Yeah.
And he did begin to muster up and build up ahead of steam. I wouldn't say he necessarily...
No, I don't. I'm just saying he got out pretty good anyway last start, but I'm not suggesting he's going to get Holy Hecker. But whether the temptation's there, you don't really know Holy Hecker's gate speed to the extent that they might not try something. That's what I was alluding to mainly. It did get out good Crowd Control, but last start. But as you say, the quality of the opposition and the will of the opposition there was probably not high intent either.
No, I think Holy Hecker would lead and win. I was a bit more optimistic. I thought we might get an okay price, but
no,
I don't think he'll be $1.20, $1.30.
I do.
Okay.
I'd be surprised if he isn't, quite frankly. The way he's going, the advantage of the draw. I know it's reasonable opposition there, and Frisky Sticks, Crowd Control, Chivalry's going terrific. You know, Soho Firestone, they're all going well. Well, Waddell. Instigator drawn 1, you'd imagine would sit on him. That's another query, but I think it
probably won't matter.
Probably won't matter, but I would think it's a logical 2,500 to sit on Holy Hecker. You're going to get the run of the race here. I know that Instigator's quite a tough horse, but this is probably a different ball game in a way.
His manners are really the obstacle for him. Instigator.
Yeah, well, that's right. He probably hasn't got the speed to even go with him, but
he just can't pace in a straight line for the moment.
No, that's exactly right. But so he's drawn 1, so you mentioned that factor, but I don't think it'll be an issue at all. I agree with you. But yeah, I'm thinking $1.30 would be about the best.
Frisky Sticks has been in super form, 155.9 when saluting at Pinjarra, then last start comfortable as you like. And prior to that race, Kyle Symington suggested in the pre-race interview, trainer Ryan Bell indicated the horse was working as well as Ryan had a horse work virtually ever.
Yeah, no, this and its runs, its form's been terrific since the slightly disappointing run when he sat, was it 3 back the fence and didn't really run on. He ran 4th that day. I think he was behind the leader early and then failed to flatter late, but there was obviously wasn't right at that point. Kyle Symington has referred to that fact. And his last 2 runs, like Pinjarra, went sensational, really. The times he ran and just ran away from them. And, they've certainly found their form with him now. He struck his form a little bit late for those feature races, but he's certainly a horse that's going to do a big job here in Western Australia long term. And, look, as I say, it's nothing in stone about Holy Hecker leading, I guess. So that is the only little query. And as you say, the bookies might take the risk with that, but my gut feeling there will be no risk taken by the bookmakers here.
Crowd Control super winning by a space last start in good time. Before that, Chased Home Hotly Pursued was taking ground off him. Not sure that he ever would have run past him, but he was getting very close. Lindsay Harper's got the 2 out wide. Chivalry, the primary of those. Lindsay electing to go that way. He did a lot of work in the breeze last start at Gloucester Park over the long trip, which was a really good run.
Yeah,
but
tremendous.
If you lined up a fair few of these from this race in that same race, you'd expect them to do the same.
Yeah, I think he's a horse on the up. Lindsay hasn't had a lot of luck with this horse. He's shown a lot of ability. He's just hasn't quite got the right runs on occasions. The other day that he was definitely the class horse, and Lindsay drove him like the class horse, and he was superior, just outstayed them against moderate opposition compared to this, of course. And this barrier draw is a great leveller for him. He's going to require a real war early, I suspect, to be able to get into this race. He probably needs frisky sticks or something like Crowd Control to have a real good look at Holy Hecker out of the gate. Sweet Lucifer, I think, will probably just drop in.
Yep. It's
somewhere.
Another that probably follows Instigator and is a little bit of a seesaw. I
think so.
Hangs a little bit as well.
Go the rail.
Soho Firestone's going really well.
Yep.
Breezed, boxed on solidly 2 starts ago. Last start picked up a lot of valuable late ground behind Tiger Royal, and the sectionals were good. They got home in 56.8 there as well. So the draws dealt a krill.
That's a 3-year-old racing against that older company there, which was a very good effort. Tiger Royal, middle paid, magnificent. I'm a 5-star general, those type, and it did rocket to the line late, that's for sure. I know he went up on the inside, but he did find the line, so, definitely on the improved, but a great levelling barrier draw again for him.
Just looking at Trent Cooper's selections, he's got Holy Hecker on top, but his suggested bet is Instigator each way.
Yeah, well, Instigator's a horse, a developing horse, but as you say, it's had a few little issues. Won the Northern Derby, didn't it? Northeastern Districts Derby, and never presented for the Country Derby at Pinjarra, which he was qualified for, which obviously would have been very important for them to qualify in Northam and then not go to the Country Derby final at Pinjarra. There was obviously something wrong there, the little setback, and no luck the other week when it tried to get forward, get the breeze, and that didn't work out for it, and boxed on under the circumstances.
I think he could have done better.
Yeah, but that's right. But he got called wide, tried to get the breeze off Ronald Scott, and that doesn't help when you open a horse up like that and then you drop in. I think
first up for a month.
Yeah, that
Kyle
would be the issue.
Sivington actually said in the pre-race interview he was strongly suggesting he'd like to give the horse a soft run, and it just didn't work out.
No, Dylan was quite happy to hold the breeze there, which probably caught Kyle off guard a little bit. He thought the breeze might have been there, and then when that didn't happen, I thought, it dropped out late, but it didn't work out too well with Crowd Control controlling the race around 157.8. And, did a little bit too much early. If it was underdone, there was definitely excuses. More of a place chance for mine here.
Holy Hecker.
It'll be winning.
Race 2 is the Catalano Trucks 1 stop-shop pace over the 21.30. Stormy Skies draws the pole for Shane Steele. 2 is I'm the Mighty Lucy. And was a little bit lacklustre last start, I thought. Her run previous was excellent. 3 Rumours, 1 2 starts ago. 4 Rumour Has It, rebounded to win first up last start. Extraordinary Mary, excellent winning last time out. We'll discuss her later on. Alta Queen out in 6. 7 American Armour, bit of a class drop. 8 Parakeet, last start winner. And 9 Cyclone Charlotte was hitting the line as well as anything last time out, Glenn.
Yeah, and Ray Williams was interviewed and did give an indication that that run by Cyclone Charlotte, when she didn't really finish off the race, they found a problem, I think, with an abscess from memory, and that accounted for that unusual performance where she was down a bit on the night. Her form has been sensational. But then she missed out, I think, because of that on the mare's race. She never went around. And then no luck the other week. Last week, that 8th got to the line really strongly in the Flow Rider race. Went quite well. The times were against it. It was dictated off the front. And she really charged late, albeit 8th. They probably need to win tomorrow night. Ray was referring to trying to force his way into the Nugget. Was it the Nuggets?
Yep.
Force his way into that, and then to do that, he would have to win this week for sure, which is not going to be easy.
I think even winning does not necessarily guarantee her a run.
Not at all. But the minimum requirement.
Yep.
And Ray did allude to the fact he wants to force his way in. The minimum requirement would be to win this race. That's number one thing he has to do, and then assess after that. But yeah, it's going to be very difficult. She just missed that lead-up race, which was very significant for her to get into the Nugget. She would have been in the play had she won one of those races. She'd be well and truly in the play, but she certainly has to win tomorrow night. Stormy Skies looks the logical leader. Has shown gate speed before from the 1. I wouldn't be surprised if Cyclone Charlotte does the launch here, given the significance of winning for them, because it's going to be very, very hard if you just go back off the gate here. My gut feeling is they have used it out of the gate before and showed tremendous gate speed and lobbed very handy positions with Cyclone Charlotte. Even when they haven't led, they burst out and got a really good position with her, and she's been very dangerous from there. So, look, it'll be interesting to see tactically what they do, but Ray's pretty happy with where she's at right now, and clearly tactics will play a big part here. Do you think Stormy Skies will do enough?
I think so. Cyclone Charlotte's never really flashed out. I'd be more concerned about potentially Rumour Has It rolling forward.
Yep.
American Armour will want to get prominent, and Parakeet, I'm not sure she'll get there initially. I think she might just float off early, but she will definitely want to get to the breeze after the dust has settled. Stormy Skies did lead a similar kind of race from gate number 1. Admittedly, there was not much pressure that night at Gloucester Park, and she did succumb to a classy lineup there. So she may lead, but it's a pretty good race, and there are plenty who will be there to capitalise if she's got any chinks.
Yeah, I mean, I can remember one case where she absolutely flew out one night from a wide draw and got in behind the leader, which it might have been Wonderful to Fly one night when she drew really wide and dashed across and tucked in behind with a gate speed. And that's when she was sort of on the way up. It wouldn't shock me if they have a crack out of the gate, but she has got strings to the bow. The other thing they'd be relying on here is maybe Paraquet being put in the race. Pressure horse, 3 Rumours, another pressure horse. Breezed and won the other week, albeit when 5 Bengals did break and changed the complexion of that race. And as you suggested, Rumour Has It's got good gate speed. Probably going to have a look at Stormy Skies early, and then Paraquet would be put in the race and apply some pressure. So maybe Ray, they might be content just to hope there's enough pressure and then put her in the race later. American Armour's another one that can be put in the race, but
she has to go forward straight away, I think, because even if she gets to the breeze, you know cover's coming because Paraquet will want to be there.
Yeah, Paraquet will want to be there, but what will... Rumour Has It will take the set if it's in the breeze, but 3 Rumours is the one that'll probably press on.
Yeah, it'll want to be there.
Yeah, so that could create the pressure that might convince Denny Roberts not to get involved. There might be enough there for it to...
I thought she'd go back.
Yeah, there might be enough there for it to...
It's not a full field. She's got speed. She's got strength if she has to make some kind of early run, especially... Let's face it, if she is going back, she will be the horse 3 wide, no cover, but she can handle that. Denny has got on really well with this horse in the past, and in truth, a lot of race horses. So looks a race where, despite the barrier, she might have the class to overcome it.
Yeah, if you look at that, we're talking about 3 there with that cover, which could happen, but not all of those horses are going to get to the breeze. So one of them, it could be Paraquet, comes at the bell, because the 3 Rumours is there, Paraquet's going to get going.
Earlier, and it might force a bit of first, second quarter pressure. It
could happen that way, or it could have to... Because there's a couple of breeze horses there, they'll be happy to sit outside the leader, Stormy Skies, we're presuming. Therefore, there may be one horse to cut Cyclone Charlotte right into that race. And if it's Paraquet, it's not a bad horse to follow.
The horse who, if this map is to be correct, that will get the best run is I'm the Mighty Lucy.
This is more a go. Last start, the race wasn't... She was back in the field and had to come wide. It was a bit of a sprint home. Don't think it suits her. She's going to tuck away here. do no work, and that's how she goes her best, I think. So a little bit more suitable, seemingly slightly disappointing last start, but there was reasons for it, I thought. To me, in running, she had no hope, the way that race is run. So
she had no hope, but I still expected her to finish off better than she did.
A little bit plain, wasn't she? Yeah.
Well, considering the previous run, yes, I expected her to hit the line harder. Yeah.
Going to get the good run there, that's for sure, Hayden.
Cyclo Charlotte for me, Glenn.
Yeah, I think she'll be hard to beat. Her class might prevail here, but I have got respect for Stormy Sky's recent form and sustained that long run last start, which was impressive, I thought, the way it kept coming. And the race, again, wasn't run to suit Stormy Sky's last start. Now, here it's got the rail, and every time it's led, it's gone exceptionally well in this type of company, but certainly the one to beat Cyclone Charlotte, with probably the one to run down being Stormy Skies here.
Well, Trent's gone Stormy Skies. I'm against you guys. I couldn't have her.
Yeah, I think she's...
I put her in for fourth, but I couldn't have her.
Yeah, I think her recent form is pretty good. She's coming off the track, running on and really fighting to the line.
Super, but...
It's an interesting one because she could cop pressure, but, I think she's a pretty good leader. She can
handle pressure.
Dictate it, yeah. Against the very, very top mares collectively, that's a different ball game, I guess, like taking the Mickey, Cyclone Charlotte. And you'd probably say Cyclone Charlotte's got the class here to win it. I haven't given my tip yet, but I'm thinking that those two will fight it out.
Well, I'm with Cyclone Charlotte.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, on class, yes, but I want to see the market first, because if I'm betting, I want to see what the differences in the prices are here. And I think it'll be a reasonably open market. I don't think anything will be too short here. So you might be able to back one, save on the other. But, yeah, on class, Cyclone Charlotte every day of the week, but it's still a testing draw with a few obstacles there. And I can understand why Trent's tipping the one. Not against that tip at all.
I am. Race 3, Catalano Trucket Equipment, Fabrication and Repairs, pace 17:30. Burley Shard draws the pole. Paul Edwards banged there in 2, 3 under the altar, 4 Mr. Mont Blanc, 5 Peragua Ad Astra, 6 Flying Rumour, 7 Me Flash 8, Soho Santorini, 9 Tubbs Farquhar, 10 My Ultimate Baxter, Glenn.
Yeah, again, Flying Rumour, is a brilliant beginner, but this is a different ball game here. If Kyle Symington is really aggressive, Mr. Mont Blanc, we see it can come out really quick, as is Paul Edward, which Dylan's clearly 1700. It's got gate speed. I think it'll do enough. Burley Shard sits behind the leader. I think Paul Edward will do enough to hold Mr. Mont Blanc. I don't think Flying Rumour can cross those, nor do I really think Shannon will think so here. That's a pretty awkward draw. He might. This is the barrier where you can do it. I understand that down the straight, 1700, and he might have a different idea. But I think he shared our concern that that's some pretty decent gate speed underneath Paul Edward, Mr. Mont Blanc, which I'm sure Kyle Symington will be aggressive here. So that makes it harder for Flying Rumour to cross. So Santorini, another one that's going pretty well. Awkward draw for it. It's going to be relying on the pressure. And Milo Baxter went good in the sprint race at Pinjarra the other day. But that's an awkward draw too. Has the rail, probably 3 back, I would say. What do you think?
Yeah, I think Paul Edward is the likely leader. No chance Burley Shard tries to hold up?
I wouldn't. Well, he may try to. I just don't think he's got the speed to do it.
No, he does get out okay.
Yeah, but I don't think he's got this sort of speed.
Paul Edward's pretty fast.
Yep.
I thought Paul Edward lead be pretty hard to beat him. What we've seen his last couple, he's been tucked away and he hasn't had to do much, but he has been struggling for a run and he's been ready to strike if that run presented. Tomorrow night looks a good opportunity for him to lead and win. You noted that he's probably not suited best to leading. He was cut down by Miss Sassy 3 runs ago when he led at Pinjarra, but this looks the ideal opportunity for him to try to do it. Yeah, and Pinjarra's a testing course for a horse like Paul Edwards, not a noted front runner. And Miss Sassy did go pretty good and nabbed him on the line that week. It was a pretty good effort, I thought, Paul Edwards, regardless. But it's not its perfect situation. But around Gloucester Park, if you can get past Burley Shard quickly, Burley Shard sort of likes to follow pace anyway and keeps rolling along at the same speed, a little bit on the one pace side. I think Mr. Mont Blanc will apply pressure out of the gate, so it probably means Dylan will do enough to get there. Burley Shard's going to, for mine, should take that opportunity to camp on the leader anyway. And if Dylan kicks away, he can run through into second. Yeah, he gets his opportunity to earn there. And horses like Soho Santorini definitely got a bit of class about him.
If they go too hard, Flying Rumour, Shannon's alluded to the fact he's happy to sit with this horse, so that'll be interesting to see Flying Rumour actually set up, how he goes in currently career best form. And Paradu Astra is a horse that they like putting in the race too, but where he gets to from here, it's difficult to say, isn't it?
There is a world where Paradu at Astra wins last start. He was a bit unlucky there. He just was a victim of circumstances, and he was all over them late in that race at Gloucester Park at big odds. So he's going quite well, that horse. Just probably not his week.
Yeah, he sort of, I think from memory down the back, he sort of, when the pace went right on, he didn't quite...
He went to go wide, and then he got pushed
up the track. Yeah,
and
that's
then he
right.
went back in, and then he got held up. So
he got held up late when they were getting a little bit on the tide side, I thought, the last 100, and he ran up behind them. But
still was the fastest bit of the race.
Yeah, he went through the middle late,
last
didn't
quarter,
he? He ducked through the middle. Sometimes that can do you some favours. That wasn't the strongest field either. October rain had to breeze, and you would expect the last 100 metres, him and Pelagroso, and that they just battled on a little bit. I'm not too sure the last 100 metres was the quickest.
No,
I think
I haven't got him on my numbers, but yeah, he's going okay.
Yeah, he's going okay, 100%.
Paul Edward.
I think Paul Edwards gets its opportunity here for sure.
Race number 4 on the program is Ceph's You Name It, We Fund It Pace. 21.30 goes at 7.15. This is actually my favourite race of the night. Matty drawn 1. Better Move Along 2, 3 BJ's Boy, 4 Disco Under Fire, 5 Star of Willoughby, 6 I'm Spider-Man, 7 Cloud9, 8 Tavarich, 9 Sugar Apple, 10 Illawong Mustang, 11 Feeling Aces, 12 Here Comes Sharky. It's the only full field of the night, and it's a competitive race. I think that's why I like it so much.
No, it is a competitive race, and it's made it interesting. Sugar Apple, it's come to Western Australia with a little bit of a wrap on it. There was money for it first up at Pinjarra, and I think they expected to go well. It kept running into dead ends and got sort of checked down the back when Lindsay tried to make a run, had to grab it up very quickly and then try to get it going late. I wouldn't take too much notice of its last 100 metres. It sort of darted across, changed direction, and they're off and gone a little bit on it at that point. I think it went okay, and then he took it to trials, and the opposition wasn't great, but the times read up pretty good, and he was pretty authoritative. So to me, this is not a really strong field. And if you look at the trial, the times were pretty solid and did it pretty easily, I thought. I think it can be hard to beat here. The barrier draw is a great leveller. Shannon's drive clearly got the advantage with the draw. Any query for you with Better Move Along tactically being able to hold BJ's Boy early?
Yes, I thought it might.
I thought definite problem for BJ's Boy, who's a reasonable beginner. Last start, Emily wasn't right on the gate with BJ's Boy and just...
No, she wasn't frenzied to hold the front either.
Which, we did cost with Pelagroso being... We did raise that issue on the Thursday night, Pelagroso, possibility to cross. I had that concern. As a matter of fact, I had something on it because in the birdcage before the race, Kyle alluded to the fact that even though he wasn't overly confident about it, Ryan Bell wanted him to attempt that cross with Pelagroso, and it did work out, and he ran the cheeky race at long odds. But, yeah, look, I'm not 100% convinced that Better Move Along, drawn alongside BJ's Boy. I'd have great confidence in BJ's Boy getting past Emily Johnson early there. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, he leaves the gate pretty well, Better Move Along. He's not electric, but he's definitely not slow. And BJ's Boy, I wouldn't say is a flying machine. And when he does have to expend a fair bit of energy to maintain a position, I don't think he's at his strongest. So that could set it up for some other horses. Cloud9, I thought, would like to get forward in a race like this. He has a bit of class, yeah. One going back 6 runs ago, and now he's dropped back into this grade, and he might be able to go bang straight away.
Yep.
He ran a good enough race 2 starts ago. He was clawing back some late ground, but as with the bulk of the field behind Mr. Fantastic, who was getting a bit tired, and then last start was just a run. Just forget it happened. I thought he could roll forward, and he might be able to boss this race, potentially even from the breeze if he had to, because I can't see them going too hard after they've settled.
No, this is the issue. So for Stewie McDonald here, Better Move Along, BJ's Boy is very significant for him. What he really wants them to do is have a little bit of a war early and really burn, and then once they back off, BJ's Boy, if it led, okay, that's fine. But if it doesn't lead, it's in the breeze. It'll be looking for the cover. Chris Vogt, just going to fire, might look to drop in early, I would have thought. Star Willoughby will be relying on that pressure for a Star Willoughby flashing late. It's the horse, if they go too hard, just tucked away somewhere there. Can be very dangerous. And a big watch, Sugar Apple, because clearly it's got ability, Sugar Apple. If they go hard again, I think it can be put in the race here, provided that they burn up a little bit early so it can get in the race at the right time. For me, Star Willoughby, big watch. Also, the horse you alluded to, Cloud9, Class Dropper, and Sugar Apple, the one, for me, the biggest watch, even though it's drawn 9.
With the exception of perhaps Sugar Apple, I could only see Cloud9 being the horse that might want to be in the breeze. No one else wants to be there. It's not a race with a great deal of collective strength, so no. I thought he might be able to exploit that to advantage. Star of Willoughby was actually really good last start. He was making up some progress again on Fire Rock, Fire Roll. I think if Trent Wheeler had his time again, he would have just continued with that sweeping run down the back straight instead of running into the cover, which didn't actually help him. It just hampered his momentum. So he's racing well, and he's had 3 runs back from a reasonably lengthy absence now, so he should be hitting peak form. And the other horse that we haven't mentioned that I think can win the race, I think the rest probably can't. I think the one that can is Illawong Mustang.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that. Yeah, look, he's been running up behind them really late, and again, it's probably 3 back the rail here, but that's its go. And Dylan's been angling for that run, and it's been finding the line really strongly, hasn't it? The last couple of runs has gone really well, but it's a horse that can bob up in these races, no doubt, if they run it upside down. And I suspect what you're saying is right, Cloud9, because of the way this race is set up, Stewie's going to drive that horse with a lot more confidence. For me, it'll depend on what happens with 2 and 3 early. Cloud9, Sugar Apple, those 2 I think will be put in the race when the opportunity comes.
Important interview though. Better move along, Emily Johnson.
100%.
That throws all the theories out of whack if it's just going to take the cover on BJ's Boy, who would then look the winner if it given.
Yeah, if that happened, it's going to help Shannon greatly. And Shannon sort of was hard by thinking that might happen, that even if Better Move Along leads, happy to take the trial, maybe. But I'll be waiting for that interview, as you alluded to there, Hayden, because, look, it's not that overly strong a field. It just depends how much pressure Shannon applies. If Shannon can get a half length or whatever straight away, well, it may well be the right thing to do, just to camp and get the run of the race behind BJ's Boy. That could happen, of course. Prices here, I don't see BJ's Boy as a horse you want to be taking too short a price about.
He'll be the favourite, though.
He'll be favourite, more than likely favourite, yeah. Sugar Apple won't be $41 predictive price that it got here. It's going to be close to second favourite, with Cloud9 to be in the market, and Star Willoughby somewhere in the market, probably $6 each way mark. Sugar Apple I've got well and truly in the market here. Nowhere near that sort of price. Probably second favourite, I would think. And the horse you mentioned, Cloud9 also. We'll have to do a little bit of work, so it's going to be each way odds, but it's a tricky market, because if you're taking the price BJ's Boy in it, and they open it up too short, be waiting for the drift, that's for sure, and be waiting for the Emily Johnson comments, what Brian Wheeler tells her to do, would be very interesting. And they're drawn alongside each other. We know how hard that is to cross sometimes, so that'll be really interesting.
Pull-up blinkers go on. BJ's Boy, the notable gear change in race number 4. We've got to take a break now. Last week, we had Kyle Symington on. He went very close to getting a double with Pelagroso, that horse you first mentioned, but he was able to get the money with Tiger Royal over the top.
Camped over the 2 leaders as they turn 28 to the next quarter around the bend, and Magnificent, I'm a 5-star general, together with Tiger Royal down the outside, but Magnificent has forged to the lead. Tiger Royal's giving chase, Middle Page late. Magnificent is in front. Tiger Royal grabs it with Middle Page the inside, but it's going to be Tiger Royal beating Middle Page and Magnificent in that.
Talking Trots with Morts and Michael Radley. on Tab Radio, Racing and Sport.
Turn 28 to the third quarter. Leads by 2.5 metres. Between Two Thorns on the outside, running home gamely. And then All the Glow further back. Quattro's the leader, Sister Sherry, but Between Two Thorns is finishing well. Between Two Thorns after Sister Sherry, who kicks strongly though. Sister Sherry's in front of Between Two Thorns and Sister Sherry. 2.5 metres to Between Two Thorns. And third home is Quattro.
Still learning, a little bit lazy, Sister Sherry, but she's got a bit of ability under the hood. I was at the gym last Thursday, and there's this old guy who loves his racing, and I said, Sister Sherry, tomorrow night, back it. And then I saw him again on Saturday or something. I said, did you back it? No.
Didn't back it?
No. So he wasn't part of the 550 to 230 plunge, but someone was.
Yeah, I got 340. I thought that was pretty good. I didn't realise they bid 550, and it just kept tumbling in, didn't it? And I was pretty happy very shortly after the start, because that was one element of the race that you weren't to be sure of. I thought there was a good chance to lead, but you couldn't be 100% sure of that. And once it bounded to the front, looked all over. And Julie found plenty late when that horse of De Campo's came out. It looked threatening for a couple of strides, as she does. The name of that horse,
Between Two Thorns.
Between Two Thorns, of course, is one of those that tends to run up to them. But I think there was an element, though, of the winner finding something as well there.
Yeah, I think that was the more significant factor under that circumstance. This segment, Glen, brought to us by Loans 123. Contact Steve Sell if you find yourself in a bit of trouble, and he'll help you out. 1800 100 100. Photon, powered by Cummins Pace, is race number 5 on the program. 21.30 the trip, goes at 7.50. 1 American Bullet, back to a mobile. He's $9. 2 Hotfoot at 151. 3 Valbon, $9. 4 Rockmeister, 2.40. 5 Doc Holiday, $12. 6 Magnificent, 2.25. 7 Middle Page, 10. And 8 Thompson Bay, 21.
Right, that market... is that up yet on
Tab Touch? Yep, Tab Touch are up on 5, 6, 7, 8.
Okay, good. All right. So, sorry, Hayden. So, what price did you have? Rockmeister,
2.40,
and Magnificent,
2.25.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Well, that's probably about right, I'd say. But they're keeping them safe, aren't they? And what Velbon's the query, of course. First up, got gate speed. It's going to be important as to what Lisa Walton indicates to Gary Hall Jr. as to about how forward that horse is. Hot-foot, it's got gate speed as well. Denny would want to sit on something, presumably something
Rockmeister
in the market. Yep. So she thinks she'll probably do enough to kick up, and then. But Velbon's a query. If they're happy with Velbon, really aggressive.
Chance to lead.
So
I thought probably sit in first up, long break.
You would imagine so. We don't know how it's going either.
Yeah.
But that's
hasn't trialled.
No. But again, they could be happy with it. We don't know. So that's one for the interviews, because it affects Rockmaster greatly if Velbon's even going to be aggressive out of the gate to get past American Bullet. I'd favour Hotfoot and maybe just drop in here, but...
it's not been going that well. No. Senior Rainsman goes on, helps a bit, but hasn't been at its best.
Doc Holliday's trial was good enough, I thought, to say that the horse is going well enough, and it's Michael George training it now, and I thought it trialled pretty good. That was the Volton Tin trial, so the times were there, and I thought it got the line okay, actually. So it's an interesting runner, probably going to be, you'd imagine, dictated to by Rockmeister here, though, early, so probably sat in. And Magnificent just forced to go too early last week, and they nabbed it late just to expose down the back with Hillview Bondi in the breeze and then chasing, and then the winner getting off its back and knocking it off from behind the leader, Tiger
Royal,
which looked the winner if it got the run, and was the winner because it did get the run. And that was the issue for Magnificent, having to make a long, sustained run, which wasn't the ideal situation, but that's how it worked out.
American Bullet hasn't traditionally been a fast beginner, but he began like a rocket 5 runs ago from 1. Has a little bit to do when the mobile is released, but if it's similar, which you can only anticipate it to be so, then he'll have the luxury of being able to sit on who he wants, which is likely to be Rockmeister. He led and was able to win an open 4-year-old race 2 starts ago. He was a little bit lazy there late in the piece. He knocked up and he only won in 157.3. Certainly had his chance.
Yep.
And then was eye-catching last time out, seeking a run late in the piece. If he did lead and get it on his own terms, he'd become the one to beat. You'd be scared, though, of Magnificent. Certainly the stronger sprinter between the two, I'd suggest. However, that tactical bias that Rockmeister possesses, courtesy of the barrier draw, could prove an overwhelming factor.
Yeah.
Also depends what they want to do with Doc Holliday. He's first up, but he has raced in the breeze in many of his starts.
He looked good, didn't he? He looked as if he was back and reasonable. He went he sort of trained off a little bit at the end of his last preparation, and then he's had the break over to Michael George, a bit of a different scenery, and Michael George has got a knack of turning these ones around, just a different scenery, got a knack of improving them, and the trial told me the horse is on song. And wouldn't be surprised if it ran a very forward race here.
Always been his go, though, really, Doc Holliday. He just had to follow a hot speed in that trial, and he's the kind of horse that can run those 29 quarters, churn them out. So before I got too enthusiastic about him, I'd like to see him do it.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like it was 3-horse trial and single file. So, but I was encouraged by the fact he did find the line, and it was 155.8. That's pretty quick for a trial. And he looked good, and he seemed to do it comfortably enough. And given the fact that Volton 10's a pretty good horse when it's at its top, clearly Volton 10 went pretty good. Indicated there's still life in the old boy yet. But for me, I think Magnificent might just have the turn of foot here. The race wasn't really run to suit last start. We had him map 1-1. Go forward, get the 1-1 on Cole Simic and Emily Johnson last start.
Hillview
Bondi, yep. Breeze horse. Didn't work out the way they went back, which you alluded they might go back. I thought he might go forward, take the 1-1 on Hillview Bondi, and I think it would have been soft enough. So you don't have to then come wide and maintain that long run to get past Hillview Bondi. And that's what happened. At the end of the day, that's what's cost him late. Just the sweepers managed to get him late. And I think the run was still meritorious. Here, if there's it all depends if Rockmeister just pings to the front, of course. It changes everything. If that happens, probably wins. But Magnificent for me, very good run again last start. I think it's going to be hard to beat if Rockmeister has to do a bit of work.
Pretty hard to have a bet when there's not much value in the prices. Like, even if Rockmeister leads, he's not home. And Magnificent, if he does concede that advantage to Rockmeister, then it makes it tougher on him.
You're going to come off the track, don't you?
Middle page good last time. Had the favours, though, just got everything run to suit.
He poked up on the rail, didn't he, when Tiger Royal left the fence? And he poked up and took that spot. Thompson Bay was in the running line, the 1-1, and when the acid went on behind Hillview Bondi, it couldn't quite handle that. Obviously better suited on the rail. Probably go the rail here. But, yeah, Doc Holliday's the interesting one as to how they will drive it here, whether there's any confidence about moving forward. Like, if the lead gets sorted out pretty quickly, you can't imagine them going too hard in the middle half here. And they only ran 157.3, didn't they, when Rockmeister won? And Flow Rider was making really good ground there. What are the odds? Was climbing over the back, couldn't get out. So Rockmeister, he won authoritatively enough and didn't look like getting beaten, but Flow Rider did make good ground late on him.
Yeah, that's why I couldn't get too enthusiastic about backing him even leading. Race number 6 on the program is the Catalano Truck and Equipment, the Village Kid, Group 3 level. Free for all is over the 17:30, 8:20 start time. 1 Babyface out of 26, 2 Magnificent Storm 104, 3 Armour Einstein 15, 4 Wild West 11, 5 Blitzen by 20, and 6 Soho Dow Jones 41.
Yeah, look, he's in brilliant form, the Pacing Cup winner, and like he's getting the free kicks now, but good on him for that because he deserves all the wins he can get. This horse, he's had his little issues around Christmas Carnival time the last couple of years, so this has worked out well for him this time, and he's pitching a couple of these races before he goes out for a spell. He looks terrific, going terrific, running quick sectionals on his ear. It's a matter of trying to line up where they are and running here. It looks like single file with Babyface out behind the leader, but whether Babyface out is racing well enough to be able to cling on is a big question mark here. The only thing is you don't want to be off the rail too early chasing this horse. You want to be pretty well just running from the 300 metre mark trying to make the ground up the straight and trying to get past Babyface Adder. Armour Einstein's probably going to be 3 back here. Blitzen by to the rail as well. Wild West probably the rail. Nobody wants to be in the breeze here. So it's not really easy with Babyface Adder. If the right Babyface Adder turned up, he might be able to cling in there, but I'm just not sure. Seemingly not going as well as he was 12 months ago.
If he really begins to turn it up from the 800, then Babyface Adder's in a bit of trouble because he's going to lose ground on Magnificent Storm, and then he's going to be also providing a trail to Armour Einstein and the rest of the pack, who Armour Einstein should be able to get over the top of him into second place. He could probably hold off the rest based on that last run.
As long as Babyface Adder hangs in there long enough down the back, and which it could do at its best.
I think he'd hang in there long enough over 1700.
You would think so, yeah.
That's
going to be significant to the first fours, how that plays out.
Wild West is probably going to have to be the first one to come off.
Yep.
Because if he could know that Babyface Adder wasn't going to stick, then being initially outside of Magnificent Storm's not a bad place to be, because then you get the luxury.
Well, you're locking up Armour Einstein, make it come around you then. That's going to be... But it depends how fast they're going. You don't want to be poking your head out if Magnificent Storm's really running down the back, say 600 out. If you're the one that pokes your head out there first,
it's one of those things.
May not be pretty.
As soon as you go, Magnificent Storm is off.
That is my concern with that, yeah. So I think they'll be trying to cling us. It'll all depend on how Babyface Adder's travelling here. If they'll be happy to stay in, provided Babyface Adder's racing at its best and is holding onto the coattails and the tow rope, doesn't break too early here. That's going to be really interesting.
Nothing wrong with Blitzen By's last run, but I thought it was just okay. Like he was losing a little bit of ground on Minstrel. Soho Dow Jones knocked over last time. He was pretty unlucky there. He would have finished closer than he did if Miles Matt Ronnie hadn't collapsed in his lap.
Yes, he climbed up over the back of them late, that's for sure. There was nothing wrong with Soho Dow Jones's run. He was full of running when Ultimate Ronnie came back in his lap, that's for sure.
I'm not going to ask you for a winner. Who runs second?
Yeah, look, I think Armour Einstein might just have the slight advantage here and probably Wild West to run third.
I went 2, 3, 1, 4. I thought Babyface might be able to stick on. But it all depends on Magnificent Storm. How he runs the race determines what happens with all the rest.
Quite tricky.
Race 7 on the program, the WA Photon Diesel at Catalano Trucks Conditioned Pace. Standing start over the 25.03, 8:45 start time. Lusaka comes out, which changes things. He was 1, 2 Longreach Bay, 3 Yankee Lincoln, 4 He's a Charmer, 5 Acuto, 6 Ardent's Horizon. They're the front. 7 Fire Rock Fire Roll off 10, 8 the Mustang off 20, and 9 Minstrel off 30. There was a market up on this race earlier. It's gone now.
Yep,
because
of Lusaka,
the scratching. Lusaka was 250, 260, and the Minstrel was 250, 240. So they were dominating. Ardent's Horizon was about 320, and then Fire Rock Fire Roll, the Mustang, were big odds. I think the Mustang was about $16. So that's how it sat, but it's obviously all changed.
Yeah, Minstrel going to odds on now, I would say, and Ardent's Horizon will probably, what price was he before?
$3.20.
Yeah, he'll come into probably $2.30 or something like that now, I'd imagine. Because if you look up front, Longreach Bay, not reliable. Clearly galloped the other week when it did qualify for a trial, then galloped out. It might catch the start okay, but Yankee Lincoln and He's a Charmer, both quick beginners. You'd expect those experienced 10 horses probably to beat the 2 horse Longreach Bay out. And Yankee Lincoln and He's a Charmer both hand over to Ardent's Horizon. So Ardent's Horizon looks the leader here for sure. Then Minstrel comes around and applies the acid at some point, and I'm leaning to Minstrel to be a little bit too good. He's race fit here too, Minstrel, in comparison. Like Ardent's Horizon, I know he went good last start and he was held up and didn't figure anywhere in the finish, but he got the line strongly. I just think the class and experience and race fitness of Minstrel will be too much here for Ardent's Horizon. But I think he'll be cheeky because I think he's probably going to get the saloon passage to the front here.
His fitness will probably determine the result, Ardent's Horizon.
Yep.
If he can last out just long enough before that stamina seeps away, he might be able to do enough. But he's only had that one soft run back. He did look like he would have some condition to come off him. can he do enough to run 29 seconds the whole way, which is probably what he has to do to beat a horse like Minstrel over this kind of trip.
Well, that's it. You know, if he gets a break early, he's going to roll along. Shannon will roll along and make Minstrel do some work. There's no doubt about that. But it's a smallish field, only 8 horses in it. The 30 metres, I don't think he's thrown in on handicaps. I know the handicaps don't always mean everything. Clearly, Ardens Horizon did beat Magnificent on that night. The big handicap just got him late. Ardens Horizon had the beautiful track behind the leader from memory, got out, grabbed him, where Magnificent Storm had to do too much. But look, yeah, I find it hard to go against Minstrel here. I think he's going to really appreciate the drop in class here. And I don't know what price they'll go up, probably $1.80, $1.70, I would have thought.
To put it in perspective, that night that Ardens Horizon did beat Magnificent Storm, he was off the front, Ardens Horizon,
yes,
and Magnificent Storm was off 60.
He was.
Minstrel's off 30.
Yep.
While at this stage of their careers, he is an inferior horse.
It was a quick mile rate, wasn't it? You got it there?
1:58.9.
Yeah, very quick. Very quick. So, I mean, lost no friends, Ardens Horizon or Magnificent Storm that night, but that was when Ardens Horizon had a lot of racing, week after week after week, was in peak form and drove the Perler that night to get that right run to knock Magnificent Storm off, who obviously had to do plenty to get into the race.
Minstrel will be at pains to get up outside of Ardens Horizon, though, and it's not an enviable place to be when they are running, being in the breeze. And I don't know, is there any chance there could be a sniper in the pack like the Mustang?
Well, yeah, it's in and out of form, but yeah, probably.
He's been pretty poor lately.
Possibly at his best. You know, that's what we're sort of saying, if he's at his best. But yeah, I think two-horse race, basically. And the handicap could be a test, and Shannon will make it a test. He's very good, particularly if he can ping to the lead and not do a lot to get there. Then he'll run those sectionals that'll make Minstrel work for it. But Minstrel has gone big in the Breeze and Pacing Cups, you know. It's not a horse that the Breeze really worries. It might worry him at the very highest level when you're racing outside a really top-class free-for-aller, but in this situation, I think he'll be able to handle that.
The rest won't like chasing a hot speed either.
No. They want to be on the rail and hoping these two will get to war. And that's probably, you know, the Mustang and Fire Off Fire Roll, top horses that can run on in that situation if they go too hard.
If the Mustang was at his best, he'd be right in it, but he's so far from it at the moment.
Yeah, he's an enigma horse, though. And occasionally he can pull one out, but it'll be interesting to see how he goes. But he's got the 20 metres as well, so there's no free kicks there. Not like he's landing on top of the pace straight away.
No.
But he may end up 1-1 on Minstrel. That's the spot he'll be looking for. And that could happen, and Minstrel has to run a race to get over Ardens Horizon clearly, and if you just camp and wait, you never know.
I wouldn't want to be off the pegs too soon, though. It's just going to be hard work.
It's going to be relentless, I'm sure, because Shannon will make it that way.
Race 8 is the Catalano Trucks new and used truck sales pace, conditioned 21:30, 9:10 start time. This race again has had the market taken down because Hoppy's Way is out. Number 1, he was 130 when I looked earlier on. 2 Cordero, 3 Classic Choice, 4 Born to Boogie, 5 Volton 10.
Yeah, look, Volton 10's trial was impressive. He sort of rolled along, small field. Horse of his ability. It's good to see that he's back, and he ran the times to suggest that he's back and fresh and happy. So you've got to respect a horse of his class. Whether he can bully his way to the front here, I think that'll be the ambition on the trial, because they sent the message in the trial they're happy with him and happy to roll times. I know it's Pinjarra, but it's still solid. And Born the Boogie will be the one sitting back, hoping that Classic Choice, who you'd probably expect to work his way to the lead from Cordero. Even that I'm not 100% convinced of. I thought there's a chance here that Cordero might kick up and wait for Volton 10. That was my thought. What did you think?
Honestly, I have to reassess this race, because when I did the form, Hoppy's Way was still in it. It looked pretty simple stuff.
Cordero behind the leader, but
yeah,
in this case, Cordero might elect to be the one to kick up It's got reasonable gate speed, Cordero. It's not the slowest beginner in the world.
There was a race. Cordero drew 1 and Classic Choice drew 2.
Sat behind it, went over the top of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he might think that Classic Choice is going to hold the lead here and Volton 10's going to breeze. But they also may consider that they can kick up, force Classic Choice, just drop the fence and wait for Volton 10.
Yeah, I would want to be in front. I wouldn't want to be behind the leader in this race because it's only 21 and you're very unlikely to get out.
You're talking about Cordero sitting behind Volton 10 or?
Sitting at all.
Well, yeah, if Chris Vogt puts the pedal to the metal down, I don't think there'll be any choice. I think, depending, if it's Classic Choice would hold, you would think. But if it's Cordero, I thought Cordero would take that opportunity as it did against Classic Choice and did get the money when it peeled off its back.
Yeah, but that was...
I know it over races and all that, but Volton 10's a horse that has to roll along. So anyway, that's my gut feeling that Cordero would want to kick up and probably hand over to Volton 10 only. And I thought Chris Vogt would be aggressive for that situation too. What Born the Boogie does in that scenario, Lewis may opt out of that. I don't know what he'll do.
I don't think he can do much. He's just got to sit back and hope for the right tempo.
Well, he's going to be hoping Classic Choice or Cordero kick up and Volton 10 kicks up, and that's a very good scenario for Chris Lewis and Born the Boogie, that's for sure, and that brings Born the Boogie into it. But my gut feeling, Vogt, the way they drive at trials, they're going to be super aggressive here and try and push their way to the lead.
Yeah, I don't feel comfortable giving a decision yet because the race has completely changed for me. I'd have to go and have a revisit of the form later tonight.
You need to see a market as to what price you want to take. Because how do you price Volton 10? It's difficult. How do you price Cordero? Difficult. You know, they may just take the punt and lead here, but...
I think originally Volton 10 might have been $5.50, Cordero $7 or something, but obviously it's...
Hoppy's Way would have been odds on. Or,
yeah, it was $1.30.
Yeah, there you go. So now, my Cordero's basically been a sit and kick horse, particularly in fast class. I know this is a level down, but the Volton 10 scenario invokes aggressiveness here, put it that way, and perhaps the aggressiveness of Mitch Miller too with Classic Choice. They'll love to lead, but if she can come out and hold Classic Choice, they're going to have to take their management and duck in. There's no point in pressing on if Denny shows her colours and wants to hold up, and then Chris Vogt's the one I think that will press on then. That's my gut feeling.
Might be the most interesting race, although there's only 4 runners and it's the final of the night.
Yeah. No, it's
worth watching.
I'll be hanging in there, particularly listening to Denny there and see what she thinks here, because Cordero's going all right. Its form is quite good in better class company. It's been sort of running in the back of them, and they might see this as an opportunity. It has breezed them on races prior in weaker company, albeit, but it has done it. So 2100 barrier 1. It's not a blistering horse out, but you wouldn't call this blistering gate speed either in this race. So probably can hold its own early here and make it turn into a very interesting race indeed.
Have you got a best bet? I don't think I do.
No, not really at this stage. Apart from the obvious Holy Hecker and a few of the really... Yeah, we have got markets here. There's going to be a few shorties. I thought Paul Edward probably gets a chance to win. Holy Hecker, if he could probably link that up, those two. I've got a big watch on Sugar Apple here. I've got that gut feeling that the class might be there. But again, prices. Are any prices up on that one?
No.
No.
That one at this stage, that race, I'd be backing Star of Willoughby and Cloud 9.
Yeah, you're going to get each way odds there. I think that's the way to go. Probably from the value viewpoint until you see the prices. But yeah, we don't know what price Sugar Apple. It might go up from that barrier. It might go up at each way odds too. And I'd be definitely thinking that's a horse that's got long-term ability, particularly for this class. I think it's better than this class. What I saw in trials, and even the first up run was good enough. Magnificent I like a bit. In a tricky sort of race, I do like it a bit because I think it's just got that blistering speed. If Rockmeister can't get the lead early, then advantage Magnificent there. So, yeah, look, I'll just be playing around once to see the prices there. We haven't got markets. Makes it difficult, but those horses we're talking about, I think that'll be the way I'm going.
I think I'd probably go Cyclone Charlotte if I had to have one.
Yep, fair enough too. She's got the class, no doubt.
Of the races that have markets up, I'd probably go Armour Einstein a place if you had to pin me into something. But
that's pay 1 too.
Yeah.
So it's dangerous territory, and you're hoping the horse behind the leader keeps up and she can get out the right time with
Trappy.
Yes.
Yeah. Not the most encouraging program of racing, but hopefully that turns around when the prices come up in the morning for you and the boys on the preview.
Yeah, we need those to evaluate, the value of the bets, particularly with some of those races. The race you referred to is probably the race for punters to operate on race 4, Sugar Apple, Cloud 9, Star Willoughby. The prices of those horses can be very relevant. I think BJ's boy's probably going to go up unders. Doesn't stop it from winning, but it's a bit of a professional place getter, isn't it? You don't want to be taking the shorts. And the price of that horse will be influential on what people do. If they want a better reasonable price, people will back it. But if they go up too short, they'll be dodging. Inter Dominions Saturday night, the series.
We'll have a look at those in just a moment, Glenn.
Just a moment? Yeah, okay.
We're going to take a break first.
Alrighty.
Last week, the standing start, Extraordinary Mary, we touched on her briefly earlier on, but I wanted to save it for now because I thought she was just about career best last week. She was exposed reasonably early and she soldiered on with it. Strength has never been her greatest asset in her arsenal, but she toughed it out and she ran past Karana, which was no mean feat.
No, she did go good and beautifully driven considering the way she's playing up before the race. And Kyle was aggressive, but he's also looked on the side of Karana's coming, I'll sit on it, you know. And that was the winning decision. I think if he held the lead there.
Because she had to do a bit to get that position
she did,
originally.
Then she got a beautiful run. The overall mile rate wasn't sizzling either, but she still did for her a lot more work than you would have liked. And she still managed to kick. Lusaka obviously went unders in that race too, so that probably was significant. Karana, I thought, had every opportunity to win. Was a touch off, disappointing, I would have thought.
Great training performance. Credit to Gemma Hayman how she's got this horse going at the moment as well. Here's Extraordinary Mary winning last week.
29.2. It's Karana leading the way. On the outside, Extraordinary Mary keeps coming. Then Joey James. Extraordinary Mary raced up on the outside of Karana. And then Joey James and Lusaka, and he's a charmer. But it's Extraordinary Mary in front of Karana. And Extraordinary Mary gave up the lead, sat and won the race. Extraordinary Mary beat Karana. And third home getting through.
You are listening to Talking Trots with Mortz and Michael Radley.
Sanford Bart, 3 deep before the turn. Il Lucifer runs up behind them, feeling Empathy Armour Warrior. I'm a Aussie Artist leads, getting into the clear is Quigley, giving chase with Sanford Bart the outside. Sanford Bart goes up with Quigley to I'm a Aussie Artist. Il Lucifer switch back down to the inside, but it's Sanford Bart for Elliott. It's a double, and Sanford Bart beats Quigley and El Lucifer. And
big night for Liam Elliott, and Johnny Faggs got Sanford Bart going well. That was the Westbred final for the 3-year-olds, sponsored by Spurs Stud, and Sanford Bart, who John and his family bred themselves, has hit peak form recently, and he'll be seeking the hat-trick over the weekend at Narrogin.
Did he win the Horse of the Year at Wagen? Is that Sanford Bart?
Not sure, couldn't tell you.
One of John Fagg's won Horse of the Year there, I think. I think it was one of his that won it, so yeah, it may have been that one.
Yeah, well, it has to be because Sanford Bart's won his last 3 appearances at Wagen. He won a race in September and then he won those 2. So, yeah, he's really fond of that venue and
absolutely
doing a good job. All right, we've got country racing as well across the weekend. Bunbury Friday and then Saturday Narrogin, Pinjarra Monday, Gloucester Park Tuesday. There are fixtures ahead, Glenn. I've had a look at the fields there.
Okay.
And Bunbury gets underway, 7 events tomorrow, midday, bang on start time there. So the last will be done at 3:46. I think race 4, we can back Ultimate Rocker. He's drawn the back row over the mile, which you'd say, I don't know about that, because he's a horse that gate speed is his real winning asset. But
big class dropper.
It's only a last 5 less than 8 for him, and he's been very consistent and competitive on Friday nights at Gloucester Park. A little bit scared of Magic Eye Mick, but he's unruly.
Yeah.
He's got plenty
He'll put
of
pace into the
ability.
race, there's no doubt about that.
Yeah. And if he is sat up, Ultimate Rocker, and the breaks do go his way, he'll give them something to think about late in the piece. Race 4, number 10. And race 7, number 9, Artistic Scribe. Bit harder here, but I've been in love with the way this mare's been going, this prepreration.
Went
4
terrific,
starts,
didn't it, last start?
and last start had to do the work, still was able to do the job. Her runs before that, when back in the field or doing work, were also very good. She'll measure up. She'll be pretty hard to beat. Mile, second row again, but she follows out a pretty quick beginner and Alexandra the Great, so she can be up there from the outset. Race 7, number 9, Artistic Scribe, hard to beat.
Yeah, it's going to get the right run then. A very good rated drive by Trent Wheeler. Never panicked when he was in the breeze. Rated that horse to absolute perfection. You wouldn't have thought it could have won. It's not the sort of horse you want to be in the breeze with, is it? You know, once it didn't lead, you think, well, trouble here now. There's plenty of money for it. Didn't lead, but Trent balanced it up, rated it, and got the money.
Atomic Feel as well was very good last start. Brad Chinnery's horse is going well.
Yeah.
That appears in that race, drawn gate number 12. Saturday night, I'll be going down to Narrogin.
Beautiful.
8 events on the program there. 5:58 start time for the first race. For a bet, I'm going to race 5, number 10, Tahi, who was able to finally break through for that win last time out. And although the mile rate wasn't strong, it looked a race where he was not really going to get into it, considering they went a 65-1 first half. But he was back in the pack and he sprinted very powerfully to get over the top, 29-1, 28-6. I think he might be able to go on with it now. He was freshened into that. He'd had a month off now with that continuity between the two runs. Looks a race that's well within his capacity. Race 5, number 10, Tahi.
Yeah, and it did set up, I think, this horse. They've used out of the gate a few times, and he tends to run out a lot under pressure when they use him out of the gate. The fact that he's set up and swamped them late, 28-6 last quarter, was reasonable, 28-1, 28-6. And Flaming Cullen looked, on paper, very hard to beat in that race on its recent form, and swamped it late. So signs that Tahi might be on the way back.
Pinjarra Monday, race 1, number 2, Grand Majestic Bells for me.
Yep.
I've always had a bit of an opinion of her, and she franked that last start at Pinjarra, absolutely hosed up. 28-7, 29-8, won by 24.1 metres. Showed some gate speed there. If she can lob in front, she'll be pretty hard to beat.
On that
again.
run, unbeatable. Trixie Nixie, do you know that one? That's
ex-Victorian.
Yep.
Now with Michael George. Did make a brief appearance there for Michael Young at trials in October. Didn't perform to his hopes. So now another that finds its way to Michael George. A few of those. We've got Doc Holliday, Cooper, Trixie Nixie, many of Michael's ex-horses bobbing up with the other Michael. So hopefully Michael George can turn that mare around.
If it behaves itself, Grand Majestic Bells.
Gelding, not mare.
Yeah, Grand Majestic Bells, if it behaves itself, it'll be very hard to beat, obviously.
That's the country racing we've got coming up. And then, of course, Gloucester Park again on Tuesday. Into Dominion. We've got the final round of heats on Saturday as well. So if you are tuning into Narrogin, make sure you check out the Inter Dominion as well. The Pacing Championship on Tab Touch. Here's the final market. Leap to Fame's $175, Swayze $440, Better Eclipse $8, Narano $850, and then out to Speak the Truth, Spirit of St. Louis. Speak the Truth, really good the other night. Might have broken the track record, I think.
Yeah, it went really good.
$17, and Spirit of St. Louis close up after getting a good run, 21.
And Narano, drawn 1, is flying for Jason Grimson as well. Brilliantly driven the other night to get the 1-1, have the last crack and get up to win. Traditionally, it's been more of a sit and kick horse, and Speak the Truth might come forward very hard here, and perhaps Narano, 2,680 metres, takes that sit. So you'd imagine that turn it up will be the only issue early, because it's going to fly out, but again, 2,680 probably wants to sit. So I don't know what Narano, if Speak the Truth can hold, turn it up, that's going to be the key, drawn right alongside it. If Speak the Truth can get the lead and hold it, Narano's going to get a beautiful run there. And it's the one that's grown a leg in this series. It's always had good ability, Narano, but it's going to get a beautiful run here, and I think it could be the one to beat. Turn it up, absolute flying machine. Speak the Truth led the other night. They're drawn right alongside each other. Turn it up's just lightning, though. He might be able to get across. He'd sit if he'd lead. Yeah, that's it. But whether Speak the Truth then takes the lead, that could happen. Push Narano 3 back then. So that creates a little issue. But Narano, even 3 back over 26.80, if it got out, it's going to be dangerous. That's the 8th heat, and that's the first one on Saturday. The 9th, Swayze comes up with gate number 1. Gee, he's going to be hard to beat. Yeah, not a flying machine out of the gate, but he may be able to do enough here, Swayze. You know, again, I think the other night...
Even if he did get crossed, though, by like Deus Ex or something, he could pop off, get out, and then reassume the lead. And he doesn't have that point-to-point speed. I thought he was struggling on the turn in that previous heat, but he just kept grinding. He never gives up, and he was pretty close up behind Speak the Truth, and the sectionals were hot.
Exactly. Deus Ex, actually, 6 was very good in that heat too, where ran home late down the outsiders, back last at the 600. He's a horse that's got a bit of gate speed too, I think. Really have to do a bit of homework here, but Swayze will probably come straight off and go around and get the lead here. And the danger of Better Eclipse, clearly, we put in the race at some points, absolutely low flying. Bit unlucky to get done the other night by Narano, I think, on the line. And Narano was well driven because they knew Better Eclipse was going to come. Turn It Up was in front. Narano moved forward out of the gate to get the breeze, waited for a Better Eclipse, got the last run at it and knocked it off near the line in a very quick 26-1 last quarter. So, yeah, look, Better Eclipse is accumulating the points, going really well. Not really a breeze horse either, but versatile enough at this stage of its career to be able to be put in these races. Obviously, the one to beat will be Swayze, with Better Eclipse the obvious danger here.
The final of the heats is race number 4 on Saturday. Leap to Fame, $1.18, drawn the top of the track. That won't worry him. He'll keep pressing on, and he looks the winner and one of the big seeds in the final.
And I don't think he has to rush to use him early either.
No.
There'll be a few fair fighting to get to the rail. So Pete said so's quite a quick beginner, likes to sit.
Yeah, he sat the other night and approaching the home turn, I thought he was going to run past Speak the Truth, but
exactly.
Just couldn't quite get there.
Pulled out a bit, Speak the Truth, but he has got the speed. Whether Better Zip It or one of those is probably going to be aggressive here because they'll be desperate to get a win. A Rock and Roll Dude, God knows where that horse is. It's just not seemingly racing well. Manila Playboy came late off the track on Tuesday, ran home strongly out wide from memory. But it's a matter of maybe Pete said so, holding up here and waiting for the favourite to come after they settle, and Grant Dixon won't be in a hurry, mind you. Probably happy to pop her outside the leader. These horses off the back line can't find a better man racing okay. Whether Luke takes the punt and tries to put that horse in the race at some point here as well, that could happen. Trying desperately to pick up some points here to sneak your way into that last spot. But it looks to me like Pete said so is going to get the whip hand, hold up and wait for the favourite.
Desperation to accumulate those last few points could force a few moves that might not necessarily be percentage plays in these kind of...
No, Pete said so. He probably doesn't want to commit suicide either, holding on for too long. So he might pick the one to sit on, the logical one in its best form. He'd be Better Zip It if they are happy enough with who knows where it's at. It sat 1-1 the other night. Did a bit of work, but dropped out alarmingly, so I don't know where he's at. But it's probably the logic that Pete said so would take the punt to sit on, given Cameron Hart's driving it. And they won't be worried about sitting 3 back the fence with Pete said so because it's got a good finish on it and will earn valuable points from that position. So it'll probably run in the money, I'd say. Pete said so, with Leap to Fame the obvious winner.
With Tab Touch, you can bet on horses to be undefeated through the series. So Leap to Fame, the existing one, it's $1.90 for the Pacers, and for the Trotters, the undefeated runner is Just Believe. It's $1.75. Let's look at the Trotting Championship market now. Just Believe's $1.50 to win the whole thing. Queen Elida at $6. Plymouth Chubb $6. Olivici $8.50. Then Gus $13. Mufasa Metro $21.
Interesting. Queen Elida, a little bit disappointing the first night, even though it ran second. Plymouth Chubb went straight over the top of it and looked really good. Plymouth Chubb. There's a big plunge the other night, Plymouth Chubb, to actually beat Just Believe. And they put plenty on it, and it was pretty cheeky too, but Just Believe's absolute class there. They ran 157, 27-7 home, 27-4 down the back, 27-7 home. Just Believe won with authority, even though Plymouth Chubb ran the good race, did dictate early, ran 62-4 middle half, but Just Believe handled it with aplomb late, and a very classy Plymouth Chubb was gallant, but could not handle the class of Just Believe. Olivici had the drop on Queen Alida the other night. Queen Alida got assassinated by Gus in running. And Alfred had to take the set. Then he popped outside the leader, which I thought was a bit of a strange move at that point, which gave Olivici the last crack. They ran 156.2, a lot faster heat, that one. All the sectionals good, 28.4, 29, 29.6, 28.6. That was a big improver, Queen Alida. And you'd imagine would get the lead off Sir Fahrenheit. And be interesting to see how aggressive they are with Plymouth Chubb here. That's a pretty good race, that one. See, obviously those two horses will qualify. So Fahrenheit looks like he'll qualify, and Mufasa Metro has run 2 placings. That's another one that, provided they play it safe, would qualify here, I'd say. But Queen Alida at the barrier draw, you'd probably have to lean to it.
Attrition taking its toll as well with Majestic Harry and Bullion Harry. Both the Harrys were casualties there in the first of our 2 trotting heats. Sir Fahrenheit unable to cling onto the place the other night. Queen Alida affords him the opportunity to track up and hopefully run behind it again. Plymouth Chubb's in top form. Yeah,
26.80. That's going to make that interesting as to what Alfred, if he got the lead, Plymouth Chubb came. You know, behind the lead, it's not a bad spot, is it, over 2,680 metres. And I think Queen Alida, my eyes, I know she did some work the other night, terrific performance, but to my eyes, she's very dangerous set up in this situation. She might well be served camping on Plymouth Chubb. That'll be interesting.
The last of the heats is race number 6 on Saturday. Just Believe, deserved $1.14 favourite. He had that sojourn in Sweden. He's come back and perhaps better than ever on the evidence of his 3 appearances, the last 2 of which have been in heats of the Inter-Dominion. And he was able to cut down Plymouth Chubb in times enviable of any pacer. 27.4, 27.7 home. He is at the top of his game. Olivici, the nearest to oppose, you would say.
Yeah, and Olivici, you know, a trotter on the way up too. It all worked out well for Olivici the other night, even though it won, a deserved winner. It had the drop on him and was, you know, impressive. It got over Queen Alida, but Queen Alida did a heap of work, didn't it? And everything worked out well for Olivici there. Queen Alida leading then and getting the pressure, then popping outside the leader gave Olivici that last crack. In good time, 156.2 there as well. But Just Believe, I think it's a different class from these. Gus might be driven aggressive, like it's a bit of a roller. They drove it like they stole it last week. Went pretty good too, by the same token. But you'd imagine that Just Believe would be winning from Olivici. They should fight it out. Just Believe would win. Olivici probably a clear second there.
Gee, Gus has only had 14 starts in his career. The last 2 have been in heats of the Inter-Dominion.
Yeah, amazing, yeah.
5 wins overall. He's been a revelation.
RODM too, so he obviously can trot.
Hasn't been easy. He started from 7 and 12, and
yeah,
he's still banging on the door for a final spot.
Chris Alford had the opportunity to stay behind him last week too and popped out thinking Gus was going to stop, and Gus kept going. So he ended up outside the leader of a horse that didn't stop, and it cost him the race at the finish. Had he have known that Gus was going to keep going, I think he just would have sprinted through and won. But obviously, Gus went enormous. So there you go.
This segment brought to us by Steel Blue Boots. Built for comfort, made for work. Get into Steel Blue if you need any footwear. All right, that just about does us, I think, Glenn.
Yeah, that's good. It's good to catch up with you. The boys will be back next week, I presume?
No, Radley will be absent. I'll be here with Mr. Mortz.
Mortz is back. Yeah, he's in Sydney on the way back. I think he's probably back right now. It'd be good to have him back. And Bomber, of course. Bomber's probably doing the Christmas stuff, I guess.
Not sure.
There'll be something going on
cricket, something.
Yep, something going on. Good to be with you.
No worries. All right. Great to catch up with you, Glenn. Hope you've had an enjoyable listen, punters. Look forward to catching up with you tomorrow night at Gloucester Park, Narrogin across the weekend. I'll see you next week on Talking Trots.